From each happily ever after, every wish upon a star. Let's break down the movies that shaped who we are. From memory lane to now and everything in between. The most famous of films to the ones we've never seen. Decade by decade, all the times we laughed and cried. And with a little pixie dust, they will all take flight. Reliving the feelings, and we're trying our very best. And if they mean the same to you, please be our guest. So hop aboard, we would love to have you as we hang with a certain mouth, the whole gang too. If you love nostalgia stuff, we hope this does the trick. Thanks for joining us as we deep dive the magic.
Hi, and welcome back to the Deep Diving the Magic podcast. I'm KJ.
And I'm Jeffrey. And we are back today with the 48th Disney feature-length film from August 10th of 1960, the final of the Walt Disney Productions True Life Adventure series of animal documentary films. And it is a film called The Jungle Cat. Would you like to start us off with a synopsis of The Jungle Cat?
The film follows a jaguar through its daily life, hunting, surviving, and navigating the rainforest. Interwoven with stunning footage of other jungle creatures, it creates a rich tapestry of life in one of the most biodiverse regions.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Yes.
So it is like we said, it is the final of the True Life Adventure feature-length films. We've watched a bunch throughout the years.
Yep.
And
There were 13 produced altogether from 1948 to 1960.
I know that we didn't watch them all because they weren't all feature length.
Which kind of sucks because I think I would have liked to watch the other ones.
Well, I mean, you can.
Are they on Disney?
I'm sure.
Plus? Are you sure?
I mean, you can look it up. We've watched many films on this journey that
Come back for bonus episodes with me. I'm just kidding.
So, any opening things on it before we talk about like a little bit of a lay of land?
Yeah, so the True Life Adventure series definitely was a pioneering the genre of wildlife documentaries.
Especially this
So
one.
yeah, and I did feel like they seem to have gotten better with time um as they went on.
Yeah,
Not like today it's better, but
yeah.
like as they went on they did seem to get better. So
It's because they got rid of those stupid ramps. So, this does start off with the spinning globe, like they all have.
yeah.
And it says, with the cooperation of the government of Brazil and the Smithsonian Institute. Would you like to take it from there, my friend?
Yes. So like you said, it was released in 1960. The Jungle Cat focuses on the elusive and powerful jaguar, offering a glimpse of its life in the South American rainforest. It's not only educational tool, but also a cinematic spectacle, setting new standards for wildlife filmmaking. So
See that.
like yeah, so like you said, it opened up the globe. It also opened up with like the painting scene that we've seen. Um, and then it was talking about how domesticated cats never give up their instincts. And it talked about like different kinds of wild cats. It talked about how the tiger was tabbies drawn larger in life. The lion is the king of the cats. The cheetah, how Egypt had trained them to be hunters. Leopards were executioners of the African plains. And then you have cougars or mountain lions. Uh, they live by their wits, self-reliant, and are resourceful. And then you go to the jaguar, which is the focus of the film. And it talked about how it will hold its own to all others of its kind. And it's also known as the jungle cat.
Yes. Couple things on that is it talks about how man always regarded cats with respect.
Yep.
And then we see hieroglyphics of like old hieroglyphics on caves of men
Yep.
and people bowing down to cats. And then it goes through all the animals, like you said, and then it says that the jaguar, which is the focus of this film, like you said, is the greatest hunter of them all.
Yep. Um, so the jaguar lives in the rainforest of Brazil. It is the greatest hunter of them all. Te Treetop residents are relatively safe. And then it talks about this little animal that I have never heard of before, a paca,
Pacas.
and how their numbers are constantly dwindling because it is one of the, I guess, most endangered of all the jaguar's prey
Mhm.
because of it being a land dweller. Um, there are over 300,000 plant species in the rainforest, which I thought was interesting. And then rain there is not measured in inches, it is measured in feet. Um, it's a natural hothouse, so it can grow very exotic flowers. It has bayous, streams, and waterfalls, which I guess when you think of a rainforest, I never really thought of a rainforest having a bayou. But I guess it does because it is kind of like a swampy, humid place. I don't know. When I think about bayous, I just think of Louisiana. So I guess there's other places that have
Yeah.
bayous.
I mean, I don't want to like steal your if you have this in your notes, but speaking of the plants and stuff,
Mhm.
there was lily pads as big as tabletops.
Yes, there was lily pads as big as tabletops. I did not have that in my notes. Uh, Ig Iguazu Falls. I might be butchering that, sorry. Uh, when I was watching this, I thought that looks very familiar, so then I looked it up, and it is actually the waterfall scene that you see in Soarin'. So I knew I was not imagining it. It was familiar, and we fly over that in Soarin' if you do that at Epcot. Um, and it also looks like a lot like Paradise Falls from up.
We are not there yet.
I know we're not there yet, but I was just gonna say. And then it talks about how the Rio Negro meets um I guess this water and it doesn't mix due to the force. So you have like clear water and then like this really dark silty water that because of the force of the water pushing together, it doesn't mix. So it's like literally a crisp line of distinct water colors. Um, so that was kind of cool. And then it starts talking about all these different kinds of birds. One of my least favorite things in the world. Um, there was toucans, parrots, macaws, ibis, river swans, egrets, flamingos. Did you have anything to say about the birds?
Not about the birds, but we did before that we saw some monkeys and we saw like a
Mhm.
giant lizard, like a giant like land lizard as well. So,
Yes. And then it talked about the caiman, or also called the jackery, which is basically a South American crocodile.
terrifying. Absolutely
I had
terrifying.
never heard of it. I've heard of caiman before, but I've never heard of it called a jackery,
Yeah. That is the reason why Captain Hook is so scared of crocodiles. That thing was terrifying.
specifically that one.
Yes.
Okay. There was also a serpent, which I'm also not a fan of. And then it talked about how basically all of these lives or all these animals live their life in a hectic and untamed environment.
Yeah.
Um, so basically, back to the jaguar, it talks about how they travel alone and they're pretty much solitary creatures. And they have territories that are usually like 100 square miles. Um, and if they run upon one another and one ventures into another one's territory, they will fight. And it's typically savage and a vicious affair.
Yeah. I wrote down um that they viciously fight each other, showing those stupid colliding head rams, how it's actually done.
Supposed to be done here. A jaguar adult is usually around 200 pounds. Um, And then it showed a scene where a black jaguar stumbles upon like your typically colored jaguar with the, I guess, the yellowish cream colored coat with the black patterns on it. And it talked about how the black jaguar was not rare. Something that I thought was really cool is that as you watch the black jaguar throughout the film, when it's in the sunlight, you can actually see the black patterns on its coat too. So it's not like you would think like a black panther. It's not like a solid black. So like when it actually um is like in the sunlight, you can see the black jaguar patterns on the black fur, which I thought was pretty neat. Um, and then the black jaguar that stumbled upon this other jaguar, they actually stop the fighting and it ends up being a courtship.
A rough and tumble courtship.
We know it's not a Disney movie unless there's like some romance.
It's a lover's spat, they called it.
Anyway, then 100 days later, we have a jungle mother and she has two cubs or kittens, whatever you want to call them. And the jaguar is one of the few cats that does not mind water.
Mhm.
And um, they get in the water, they fish in the water, they swim, and then the mother actually starts to teach her cubs to swim in the water and get used to the water. Um, which I guess makes sense because you live in the jungle and you're in a very humid area, so you may as well suck it up, Buttercup. Um, then it clearly jumps to something else, and we talk about South American otters and
Okay.
how they love to play.
They're carefree
Like
creatures.
every otter in the world, they love to play.
I'm an otter.
Jeffrey is an otter, a Massachusetts otter.
Spoiler alert.
Anyway, and this otter that they're following actually ends up hanging out with a capybara, which I got excited because, you know, a capybara, which is the largest rodent. It is also a cousin to a beaver, but it's not an architect like a beaver. So it's pretty much just a big rodent. And then you have the Pararoku, which was a burping fish.
And this fish that's just like making like it's burping.
Yeah. It is related to salmon and herring, and it can grow up to 6 to 7 feet long.
Mhm.
Could you imagine catching?
I mean, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I wrote down about that. I wrote like a 7 foot fish versus an 8 foot like jaguar. Like that's crazy.
Spoiler alert. I'm over this. I'm just kidding. So anyway, we have this fish that's can grow taller than I am, which I thought was kind of weird.
Other than Michael Jordan.
Okay. Then you end up talking about parakeets. And the parakeets that they were showing us look nothing like the parakeets we have here, which I thought was interesting. Um, I believe they were also blue, but they didn't look like our parakeets at all that we have as pets. But then there were some monkeys, there were several different kinds of monkeys. And then it goes back to the jaguar and it talked about how sometimes two is better than one, and mom and dad will hunt together. And one sometimes will provide a distraction while the other sneaks up behind and kills whatever they're hunting.
Mhm.
Um, and then it talked about this animal that I have never heard of in my entire life, a tapir. And it is relative of a rhino and a horse. They said it should have also probably been a relative to a elephant because it has a weird, like, almost kind of like a trunk-like nose, but obviously not as long as an elephant's trunk. Um, it did look like a very interesting creature.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, and then they stumbled upon a collared peccaries, which is a jungle pig.
Jungle pig.
I don't know if you had anything to say about those animals.
I wrote that they mangle a jungle pig.
Okay. And then it talked about again how the safest place in the jungle is the top of the trees. So, if you can't live in the top of the trees, oh well, good luck for you in the jungle with the jungle cat that weighs over 200 pounds and may have a mate that's going to distract you. Um, and then there was an animal called a tamdana, which I could be butchering that. Sorry, I can't remember exactly how they pronounced it. But the other common name that we know it as an anteater. Um, Obviously that eat ants. And then it talked about a giant anteater, which they looked completely different. The giant,
It was in the trees.
yeah, and the giant anteater was definitely a lot different looking than I would have thought. It had a lot of fur.
Hmm.
Um, anyway, the um jaguars attack the anteater, and apparently, when an anteater is going to fight another anteater or another thing, it opens its arms, kind of like it's going to give you a hug. But that is its fighting stance, and it will attack you with its claws.
Yep. It says
Yep.
that the anteater's only real enemy is the jaguar, the jungle cat.
Yeah. But the giant anteater, spoiler alert, was able to get away.
Mhm.
And then you have cat versus jackery. So the jungle cat, the mother of the cubs was trying to show the cubs how you navigate life around a jackery. And basically, in that instinct is you stay away from the mouth and you drowned it.
Mhm.
They were not successful, but it didn't kill them. The jackery didn't, so they just left it alone. And then we go to the gatherers of the forest, rainforest, that is, which was the monkeys. And then again, you see tons of different kinds of monkeys.
On their jungle siesta.
There was one that had a mustache and it
Like Zorro.
tamarans or near monkeys is what they call them. I thought it looked like the Lorax.
But with a mask on, it would be Zorro.
Anyway, um, Intercaw, the boa. I'm just kidding, but there was a boa.
Yeah, it can't be a Disney anime documentary without snakes. So.
Yeah. It talked about how the boa is not venomous, but it is extremely dangerous.
Mhm.
And it only needs to eat once a month. Then you have tree boas. Um, and there was some kind of like it could have been one of the different kinds of tamarins because they showed like several different kinds. And there's one that actually will attack boas. But I think that the one that they showed attacking a boa wasn't very clever at it and actually got eaten. So that did not work out well in its favor. And then you see the beautiful sloth.
The slow and unruffled sloths.
Yeah.
Andy from Andy Has a Band's favorite animal.
Yeah.
All right. What else you got what do you got on the slow and unruffled sloths?
They just kind of mind their own business. I did find it interesting that they pretty much stay in the same place for their entire lives because they eat only one thing. Which actually looks like I forgot what tree it was, but it was like a tree that has these long bean looking pods on it. Um, and they only eat that. So they pretty much stay around these trees because they are very, very, very slow moving. And they mind their own business. But sometimes the monkeys get upset and you're in my favorite tree and I'm gonna bother you. And then at one point they knock a mother and her baby sloth into the water. And then the mother sloth has to swim, which you can imagine she's swimming pretty slow with the baby sloth on its back. And then you see an anaconda in the water, which is basically another constrictor snake that navigates water.
Mhm.
Luckily, somehow the mother sloth makes it to the tree before the anaconda can grab her and eat her and her baby. I guess that would have been a 2-for-1 had the snake been successful. Anyway,
Would that mean
then
that snake doesn't have to eat for 2 months?
well, no, it would have been 1 month probably.
That's sad. Those sloths got away though. That's good. Go
The baby sloth was like 1/4 the size
Mm.
of the mother sloth, so I don't think it would have been much more that it would have got to extend eating. Um, and then you have Statler and Waldorf in toucan form with their mouths wide open, watching the sloth try to escape the jungle cat.
True.
And I was just like, what is going on with these? So you see these two toucans, and they're just sitting in a tree with their mouths wide
Because the
open,
jaguars go off the tree.
watching the whole thing.
Yeah. Because the jaguars go off the tree. Like no other animals stand a chance if a jaguar's off a tree.
Yeah, but it said that the only safe place was in the tree.
So,
Poor sloth.
do you know how you can tell that sloths are as slow as people say they are?
Because they grow fungus and mold.
They are so slow that it took them almost 60 years to arrive in a different Disney film after this into Zootopia. That's how slow they are. No, go ahead. You're welcome. I'll be here all night.
Oh my God. Okay. So anyway, then we finally see ta-da, rain. At the end of the movie, we finally see rain.
I have a whole other thing here.
What kind of polar thing?
So then we see that there's the 300-pound boa versus the 200-pound jaguar at the end,
Oh, I just didn't
which
write
is
anything in
which
my
is a
notes.
battle of the titans.
I think that's when Faye was like, I'm tired of you guys watching this. I need your attention. So I just kind of put my phone down to kind of try to
Yeah,
concentrate.
so it was a 300-pound boa constrictor
Yeah.
versus a 200-pound jaguar in a true battle of the titans,
Mhm.
and the jaguar almost had to call in for backup, but
Yes,
but they did come out
because the
victorious.
boa constrictor, it
It was
wasn't
like
like
choking it out.
no, it wasn't. It wasn't. It did not have anything wrapped around the jungle cat or jaguar or whatever you want to call it. It did not have anything wrapped around its neck. It actually had all of its
Face, yeah.
stuff wrapped around its face. So it was smothering it by its face. Um, and then the mother jaguar runs in to help her mate, but right before she like jumps in the water to help him, he's able to get loose. Um, but I don't think they ended up killing it, did they? I can't remember. Okay, so I guess they did end up killing it, but um, then you get rain, and it's the end of the movie because I was like, wow, we're in the rainforest, and this is the first time it's gonna rain at the end of the movie. Anyway, yeah.
So it says at the end, it says that as long as the jaguar rules supreme,
Mhm.
life will continue to be exciting and hazardous.
Yeah.
And then we get to the end where there's a spinning globe. And I have to ask you the most important question. Do you think that these animals,
No, it is the most important question. Was Bagheera a jaguar?
I mean,
No, he wasn't. He actually was a panther, a black panther, a melanistic variety of Indian leopard. I did look it up because I thought to myself, oh, the Jungle Book, the Jungle Cat. Is this what Bagheera is? And he's not a panther? My whole lot, no, he is a panther.
so speaking of things that Bagheera isn't, are the animals from this film the toughest? And the answer is absolutely.
Yes.
Nothing stands a chance against these animals.
How are you going to ask the question and answer it?
Go ahead, answer my question and tell me I'm wrong. Absolutely.
I'm not going to tell you wrong because I think you're right, but that was my answer. You're supposed to ask the question and not answer it.
Yep, so they are by far the toughest animals.
Yeah.
They've
It
saved the
basically
best for
said
us.
that the jungle cat is afraid of nothing. It fears nothing.
Yeah. It was
If you'll take on a snake and a jackery,
They call it, I forgot what it says
and
earlier.
you would take on another jungle cat.
The jungle cat has a career of assassinations.
But do you think that the Wolverine versus the jungle cat, who do you
jungle
think
cat
would
weight
win?
in that thing. Look how much bigger. Thing weighs 200 pounds.
Yes, but a Wolverine could run off an entire pack of wolves from its prey that it
Yes,
killed.
but if we're judging off of animals, there's also like those big snakes in this. Oh yeah, it's a whole big thing.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Because the Wolverine, I don't know. I don't
a
know.
career of assassination.
If you are an animal expert, I need you to write us an email and tell us who would be the winner,
So I also
the Wolverine or the Jaguar.
so speaking of the winner, this was the best true life adventure film that we watched.
It definitely was.
Yeah,
Um,
minus all the snakes, but this was the best.
yeah, it didn't. I mean, it was very similar to the other ones, but I don't feel like it went into depth as much to be as dry as some of the other ones.
Mhm.
It flowed a lot better. Um, and Winston, the narrator, did great
Sure.
once again.
So then, what it was your rating of this best of the true life adventure films?
So IMDb gave it a 7.10 out of,
7.10.
or 7.2 out of 10, sorry.
Mhm.
And I rated it a 7.
Okay. I think it by far was my favorite one of them, all of them.
Yes.
But I'm pretty excited for them to be over.
Well,
So does this jungle cat assassinate its way into your list upon a star?
no, it does not.
So then,
I did enjoy it, but it definitely doesn't make my list
so
upon a
then
star.
what is your list upon a star?
So my list upon a star is Sleeping Beauty, Dumbo, Lady and the Tramp, The Three Caballeros, The Shaggy Dog, Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Fantasia, Toby Tyler, or 10 Weeks with the Circus, and Saludos Amigos.
So these jungle cats may be able to beat any other animal, but they did not beat their way.
Possibly not the Wolverine, though. We don't
But they
know.
did not beat their way
Onto your list.
into my list. They did not boa constrict their way into my list. So my list is Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, Pinocchio, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, The Sleeping Beauty, Lady and the Tramp, The Three Caballeros, Cinderella, and The Shaggy Dog. So we did it. We made it through
All the True
the
Life
True Life
Adventure
Adventure films.
full-length films.
Email us at deepdiveinthemagicpod@gmail.com and tell us which one was your favorite.
Who do you think would win out of all of the True Life films put together? Let us know.
It beat a 300-pound snake.
I still think the Wolverine might stand a chance. That's all I'm saying.
Celebrity deathmatch. So speaking of adventures,
Yes.
we have quite the adventure for you next time. We are adventuring our way over to November of 1960 with the 49th Disney feature-length film, with a film that is called 10 Who Dared. Now, have you dared to have ever heard of this film before? But have you dared to hear us dive into it and all the adventures that are around that next time?
Oh boy.
So don't give it away. It's an adventure film. Again, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, the email, but we'll be back next time for less animals. Oh my God. Remind me, I don't want to spoil anything, but we have a movie coming up that has more animals in it than any of these adventure films put together, but it's not next week. So next time is the adventure of the 10 Who Dared. So we'll see you next time.
Thanks for deep diving the magic.
Bye.
Bye.